Howdy. He's still bald. Richard Mann here. As in, man. Here at Humboldt City Cemetery in Humboldt, Richardson County, Nebraska. This is one of my favorite graves. It's a grave of a family that I'm obviously connected to, but the story is really something. My great-great-grandfather, Robert Mann, came here from Randolph County, Indiana, after the war with his wife and his young children, and they had more while they were here in Humboldt. He could never seem to really make it. He moved to Missouri and lost a farm. He went to Kansas and lost a farm. He came back here and was a laborer for a while. He wasn't really a farmer. His brother was named Lewis Cass Mann, was his younger brother. He was named after a politician of the time named Lewis Cass. Anyway, Lewis did the same thing. I have my suspicions that the brothers came together, but I can't prove it. Lewis made it big. He became a cattle dealer. He speculated in land, cattle, the stock market, anything, and he was a wonderful businessman. He became like obscenely wealthy for the area. He died in 1910, and his youngest son, Lewis Harvey Mann, was born in 1891. So Lewis Harvey was just 9 years old, or I guess he was 19 when his father died. Yeah, he was 19. However, when the Great War broke out, he enlisted. And he got sent overseas in the summer of 1917 after going to Kansas for basic training. I've got all the paperwork of the troop transports and everything that he did overseas. And he was killed in battle in the Argonne Push, the push through the Argonne Forest in 1918. He was killed 3 days before the armistice. He was killed 7 November 1918, and the war ended 11 November 1918. His poor mother, his poor widowed mother, had to pay to have his body brought back because they were going to bury him in France, and she didn't want that. His body's here. I don't think the government brought bodies back at that point, but she wanted him here. There's a whole lot of stuff in the newspaper about it. He's buried right here, Lewis Harvey Mann. And the VFW here in Humboldt is named the Harvey Mann VFW because he was the first casualty of Humboldt in the Great War. I think that's how they name their foreign legions. Anyhow, oh my goodness, I'm sorry. It was just a horribly long night. Anyhow, his descendants were really wealthy, and mine were not. When I started doing genealogy in the early 90s, his grandchildren were still here in town. Kenneth and Bonnell Mann. They never married. They're brother and sister. And they lived here. And they were wealthy. They had a really nice house in town, had bars on the windows. This town's only 1,000 people. What are you going to steal? But I asked someone in town once, this was 93, 94, she was almost 100 years old. And I told her my name, and she said, we've got some Manns over there. And I told her who I was related to, and she knew who my great-grandfather was. And she said, they won't talk to you. I said, they won't talk to me. She said, no. She said, I don't know how to put this. She said, when you're like they are, and you're poor, they call you crazy. When you're like they are, and they have money, they're called eccentric. Well, Kenneth and Bonnell are eccentric. Well, me being me, I went over there and knocked on the door anyhow. There was cars in the driveway. Nobody answered the door. So I took down the address, went home, wrote him a long letter, wrote him who I was, wrote him I didn't want anything. I just told him who I was. My ancestor was a brother to their ancestor. I just want to say hello. I didn't want anything. I didn't need money, I didn't need property, I didn't need nothing. I just want to say hello. And they never, ever, ever answered me. I think that's funny. But anyhow, this is the last of the videos of Humboldt City Cemetery. And these are the last of my mans. I got a bunch of cousins here, but it's hot. My son is starting to wilt. I'll take a short tour around, but again, you know, I'm gonna try and... You don't have to hide, son. I like this up on the hill.
It'd be nice to have a house here.
I don't think they'll let you put a house in the cemetery, son.
If it was,
See, he doesn't appreciate my sense of humor either. It's alright, his mother don't get it neither. Ain't my fault these people don't know what funny is.
jokes